Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama, Season 2, Episode 11 of my show, which is also about Episode 11. Um, Now, Episode 11 in the Futurama second season is known as the Lesser of Two Evils. Now, this is the first episode of the season that's the 11th episode. The previous video I did was the first episode of the 10 episodes because of the fact of, well, you see, there was only 9 episodes in the first season, so it didn't take me long to cover the first season because of that. Anyway, this season's gonna take longer because there's 20, but now that I'm on episode 11, that means I got 9 more videos left, which I will put in the description for this video. I did that when I did episode 10. I put 10 more videos in the remaining for season 2, so I'll put 9 when I finish recording this one, when I put the description. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Now getting into it, this is History of Futurama season 2, episode 11 of my show, which is also about episode 11, and episode 11 is known as the Lesser of Two Evils. Now the reason why it's stated that is because basically a Bender lookalike is, it's because another minor character will get introduced in this episode, and it's a robot that looks similar to Bender. I'll explain who he is later. I just wanted to bring him up though since I mentioned it because of the title. Anyway, the way this episode first starts off is Fry and Bender are basically, they're watching TV, and then they see this advertisement for visiting old New York, which is like a museum for segment in New York that shows the old New York place, and then and then this isn't the first time the 20th century in this series will get referenced, because it'll happen once again, I believe, in the next season of the series that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to say the season episode number or name because I don't want to spoil that season until I get to it, but I just thought I'd bring it up though since I mentioned it. Anyway, what happens is Fry, after seeing that, Fry decides to take Bender and Leela on a tour of old New York, in New York, so he can show them what life was like back in his time. And then while they're there, what happens is this tour guide is giving information on a no parking walking sign that to them is like ancient text that has yet to be deciphered. And Leela asks Fry what it means, and then basically Fry says that he asked someone about it once, and the guy he asked about it said that it means up your skin, which is not really what it means, because it's stating about the times of the things and stuff, and the guy was saying that he was telling Fry that to basically shove him off, which was a bad sort of thing, but I guess Fry, being the idiot that he is, interpreted it as what the sign meant, but it wasn't. And then they come upon this old derelict subway station, and then they jump over these turnstiles, and then after that, they enter into this train, which is like, to Fry, is like a mobile apartment. So they basically start to sleep on it, and then basically after that, what happens is Fry and Leela and Bender go to this car dealership that has these old cars, and they're watching this recreation of how cars were originally created by ancient robots, and then like they're at a museum that has to do with the car and stuff, and then it shows these caveman like robots hammering on it and going like ooga booga, and then when Bender sees that, he's like, "We've come a long way, baby." He means robots in a sense, and then basically the museum announces saying that the fruit of the robot slavers was a car, which it wasn't because robots weren't around, but they were using the robots as an example for creating the car. And then basically Fry goes into the car, but the museum guy that's there tries to stop him from going in, but when he sees Fry's clothes, he gets startled by that because he thinks Fry is someone who works at the museum because of his clothes and stuff, and then the guy starts snickering about it, and then Fry says that Fry says that basically what is it about his clothes? And the guy tells them to take the car and move it so it's not in the way of everything, and then he leaves and starts laughing again, and then Fry and the others start driving it, and then basically after they drive it and they crash it, Bender's like, "Oh, I think I got whiplash." Because after the crash, he gets what's known as whiplash. And then basically, after he gets the whiplash, Leela is curious about that because she tells him that he can't get whiplash because he doesn't have a neck. Because the only normal way a human can get whiplash is because of the neck snapping backward and stuff, I'm guessing, from a crash. But Bender says that it's not neck whiplash. It has nothing to do with his neck since he doesn't have it. To him, it's like, because he's like, "I meant ass whiplash." Basically, he's got whiplash on his ass because I'm thinking it's because of the force of from the thing that they hit, and it's recoiled, so his rear end is sore, like from a whiplash, like how normal humans get whiplash from the neck, except it's from his bum area. And then Fry says that it's probably because they hit some robot, and they take a look at it, and then they realize that they hit another robot who looks like Bender, and then the robot that looks like Bender says that, "Oh, I think I got whiplash." Now the robot that Fry hit was another bending unit that is another main sort of minor character in this episode that's named Flexo. Now basically Flexo is a bending unit similar to Bender, except so he's basically the same model as Bender, except he's got a little mini beard, like a little goatee thing sticking out of his beard. That's the only difference between him and Bender. Other than that, they're the same bending units. And then basically in the next scene, Fry and the others are waiting for the professor to be on fixing Flexo. And then after the professor shows up, Fry asks him how the robot he hit is doing, how the robot he ran over is doing, and then the professor says they did all they could, and Fry gets startled by that because he thinks the professor means that the robot is dead, but it's not. He's fixed. And then after that, he gets fixed. The professor introduces Flexo to the crew and stuff, and then basically when Hermes sees that he's he's startled by that, he's like says, "I remember." And he says, like, "Except for that stylish beard, he looks exactly like Bender." And then Flexo says that basically, no duh, they're both bending units. And then Bender wonders what bending unity is, and then Flexo says some numbers, and then that's his bending unit model number, and then he's Fry's and then Bender's saying what his bending unit model is, and then they start laughing about that, and then Fry wonders why that's so funny, because they're both essentially people that are bad, and then basically Fry's apologizing to Flexo for hitting him, and then basically he's wondering if there's anything he can do to make him feel better, and but this is the funny part about it, because Flexo basically tells Fry that him hitting him actually did a number on his back, so why doesn't he rub it to make him feel better? And then he basically, Fry rubs it, and then Flexo tells him to go lower, and then after that, after he tells him to go lower a bit more times, Fry tells him that he can't go any lower than this, and then Flexo's like, I'll say you're rubbing my ass. oh my God, I'm sorry, but that's hilarious. oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to laugh about that. It's hilarious. Anyway, after that, because of that and because of Flexo having the beard, Fry sort of distrusts him about it, and then basically what happens is, after that, the professor calls them into his private chambers to show him a new atomic mineral called jumbonium, which is a mineral that is being used as the centerpiece for the crown of the Miss Universe pageant, and and due to the jumbonium's highly rare nature, Planet Express would go basically bankrupt if it was stolen. So he said that because of that, he's decided to hire extra staff for the mission just this once. And then after they mentioned about Bender, and well, he decides to bring Flexo in on it, but then Fry doesn't want Flexo to be on them because of his distrust for him, and he mentions about Bender, and then because he says Flexo's not Bender, and then when basically the professor hears that, he decides to hire Flexo as extra protection for the atom, and then basically after that they go to start delivering the atom, and then while they put it in a safe to keep it locked away, and then basically what happens is after that Leela tells Bender, Fry, and Flexo while they're delivering the atom that, and this is the funny part, while they're delivering the atom, she tells them that space banditos, which I'm guessing are Spanish equivalent bandits. I say Spanish space equivalent bandits because they have the word space in them and they're banditos, but that's not the reason why. The main reason is because of maracas. And basically, I just wanted to get that part of there out of the way. Anyway, because of the maracas, and then Leela tells them that they'll take a 1 hour shift at 3 intervals, and she says that first it'll be Bender, then Flexo, then Fry. But then Fry says that he doesn't like that, and then he says something else. And then Leela says the same thing about Bender, Flexo, and Fry, then Flexo, then Fry, and then Fry mentions about going by rank, and then Leland mentions the same thing again, and then when Fry hears that, he's like, Flexo ranks me? And then Flexo makes a snarky remark about that. I can't really remember what the remark was, but I know it's just some kind of remark. So they basically start delivering the Atom, doing the shifts, and then after Bender's shift is done, Flexo takes over for Bender, but even before Fry starts his shift, he stays watching over Flexo because he thinks he's going to steal the Atom, which he's not, but he's just being cautious of him, essentially. And then he decides to wait there while it's still until it's his shift, and then it is, and then Flexo leaves, and then Fry says that finally the Atom is safe. The Atom of Jumbonium is safe, but since he was up all the time while watching Flexo to make sure he didn't steal the Jumbonium Atom, he falls asleep afterward, and then that's when the Atom gets stolen, and then when he realizes that it gets stolen, he gets shocked by that. And then when Leela gets shocked by that, she sees him and he wonders if he took it, but she trusts him, so she knows he didn't take it, but she's basically tells him, she asks him what happened, and she asks if he heard maracas. And he says that he didn't, and after she hears him say that, she said that it's not Space Banditos, and then she thinks that Flexo might have stolen the Atom, and then she tells Bender to lock down the ship so Flexo doesn't get off, and then Bender says that Flexo's outwitted them. All of them, especially him, Bender, because they think that Flexo stole it, but it's not. It's actually, it's discovered later that Bender is the one that stole it, and the only reason Flexo ran, I'll explain why Flexo ran. I just wanted to mention that I brought it up mainly because I know from watching the episode that he's not the one that stole it. I just brought that part up. And then basically, what happens is Bob Barker, the head of the famous person Bob Barker is being the host for the Miss Universe pageant, and then when he mentions about the tiara, Leela tells him to downplay the tiara, and then because he mentions that after introducing the contestants, and then when he hears her say that he has to downplay the tiara, he decides to go to a commercial break because he needs to talk to them about what happened to it, and then after that, he finds out that it was wiped, and then he gets upset with them about it, and then basically he tells them that they gotta get that Atom back before the show ends, otherwise they're gonna be in trouble, and then basically they start looking for Flexo, and then they see him, and he starts running, because now the reason he starts running is because he's actually trying to catch the actual person who stole the Jumbonium. But Fry and Leela think he stole it. And this is the funny part, it's actually because of the goatee. Speaking of Bender, I'm just going to backtrack here for a second. Bender was wearing a green leather sweater over himself when he showed up with a scarf and stuff in the ship. And then, because of the disguises, Fry got suspicious about Bender, thinking that he might have stolen the Atom, so he looked inside of him to see what he was, but he was just wearing some stuff. Because Fry thought that Bender was hiding the Atom, which he wasn't, which he technically was, but he was downplaying it. Because Fry thought he was hiding it in his sweater, but he wasn't. I'll explain where Bender was actually hiding it when I get to the part where Bender and Flexo start fighting. And then basically what happens is, Flexo's getting back into what I was saying about Flexo seeing Fry and Leela. Flexo sees them and basically runs, and then Bender runs as well because Flexo sees him, and Flexo is basically trying to catch him because Flexo knows that Bender has the Jumbonium, but Fry and Leela don't. Because they think he has it, and then Bender and Flexo start fighting, and then while they're fighting, Leela's got her gun out and laser gun out and saying that she doesn't know who to shoot. And then Fry tells her to shoot Flexo, and then while they're fighting, Bender and Flexo manage to crash, which then causes his chest plate to open up, which reveals that he stole the Jumbonium. And then basically Fry realizes that Bender was the one that stole the Jumbonium, and after that what happened is he gets startled by that because he thought that Flexo was the one who stole it, and then Flexo explains that he saw Bender swipe it while Fry was asleep. That's why he ran to tell Bob Barker, because he wanted to tell him who the real person was that stole it. It was Bender, it wasn't Flexo. And then, and when Fry hears about that, he mentions to Bender why he stole it, and he said that Bender says he tried to justify why he stole it because it's very valuable, which is true, but stealing it means that they couldn't. In this case, him stealing it was a bad thing because of the atom being missing. The Planet Express crew, as the professor stated, would go bankrupt if something bad happened to it, which is true. I'm guessing this is just my hypothesis, but I think Bender was tried to steal it so he could sell it for cash or something, like pawn it off. That's just my theory about that. If anyone has any suggestions on if they agree with my theory or if they have their own theories as to why he stole it for his own reasons and stuff, and Flexo's trying to stop him, just let me know in the comments. But anyway, Flexo says that after he saw Bender snatch it while Fry was asleep, that was the reason why he ran, so he could tell Bob Barker what happened to it. But like I said, Fry and Leela didn't know that, and then because they didn't know, they apologize. Leela apologizes to Flexo for suspecting. She apologizes to Flexo for suspecting him, but it's just with the beard and all, they thought he was the one, and then Flexo gets upset and then leaves, and then he said that they're okay, and then Fry gets confused about that as well, because the Bender he thought was good was evil, and the Bender he liked turned out to be evil, and the Bender he hated turned out to be good. It was sort of a confusing thing. And then basically what happens is the police managed to catch Flexo, and then Bob Barker they asked Bob Barker if he's the robot that stole the Jumbonium, but Bob Barker basically says that he thinks it's him, which it isn't because Bender was the one that stole him, but since he's a bending unit, he thinks he's the one, and then Flexo gets upset that he gets mistaken for being a thief and gets taken away. And then they have Zeb Brannigan announce the winner of the Miss Universe pageant, and then basically when Leela sees him, she gets annoyed with it and says that it figures, and then who else but Zeb Brannigan could be the one responsible for hosting something, being the judge for something that's so immoral as a beauty pageant and a Miss Universe pageant. And basically when Zap sees Leela, what happens is the judges and the people think that means that Leela won it, and then she gets happy about that, and then after that Zap's like, what are you people, nuts? I'm still going mono-postal with this envelope. And he manages to finally open the envelope, and he tells them that the real winner is Miss Vega 4, which is a germ, which is a female germ thing, and then they take the flowers and banner and Jumbonium tiara away from Leela, and then basically they give it to the real winner, and then Leela gets upset about that because she liked having that tiara on her, and then basically Zap starts singing about the Miss Universe thing, and then that space, after that, Fry shows back up, and then basically he says about the radiator from the radiator planet, and then basically, about a radiator from the radiator planet, but Leo says that it's an actual radiator, it's not an alien life form, and then after Fry hears that, he asks her if there's a burn ward within 10 meters a year, and then, because he's got to go for a burn ward to get rid of the radiator's radiation from his body after he tried to mess with it, which is kind of stupid, and that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next Futurama video. But until then, like I always tell you with this series, guys, fun on a bun.